The Focal Bathys are an extremely versatile and luxurious active noise cancelling headphone. Despite how great they are, the Focal Bathys are held back by one thing: Bluetooth. To clarify, I'm not saying that Bluetooth doesn't sound good enough. But before I get into my issues with Bluetooth, what are you actually getting with the Focal Bathys? There's a really nice carrying case that is almost immediately useless. I wear a cap and just do this. And all the case does is take up as much space as the actual headphones without the headphones actually being in your bag. And included inside are your generic branded USB and aux cables. The Focal Bathys themselves are made of premium feeling materials, an aluminum headband with solid smooth but tactile size adjustment, and a headrest using real leather on top and a microfiber cloth where it contacts your head. The yoke connected to the ear cup is where it actually gets a bit more interesting. It feels very much like plastic but a little colder and harder. This is because they're made with the metal magnesium. So if it feels like plastic, why bother with magnesium? The reason why Focal didn't use more known premium metals like aluminum or titanium is because magnesium has a higher strength to weight ratio than both. So the yokes being magnesium are cool and all, but the ear cups they connect to are using plastic. It's fine, the plastics don't feel cheap at all, and are really solid. It would be a really big mistake to cover up the Bluetooth antennas with an excessively expensive Faraday cage, blocking all wireless signals. The right-hand ear cup is where the bulk of the controls are, the volume rocker with a combination play, pause, and pairing button in the middle, a mode switch to actually turn off and on the headphones, or go into DAC mode, allowing you to connect to your computer or phone using USB-C, while still being able to use the button functions, so volume control and play pause work just fine. Unfortunately, even with the 3.5mm port, you'd still need the headphones to be charged to use them. Does increase the already great battery life of 30 hours to 35 hours, and when in DAC mode, to 42 hours. Yes, DAC mode still requires a charged battery because the ANC and transparency mode take more power than the charge from the computer. And even in the app, there is no way to turn off the active noise cancelling or transparency mode. The button on the left ear cup can toggle between the two, and even if you don't connect to the app, you are able to switch between soft and silent active noise cancelling, silent being the more full version. What you do need the app for is to turn the light of the Focal logo off. And honestly, if Focal was concerned enough about the weight to use magnesium yokes, the inclusion of extra LEDs is a little confusing. And I hate that you can't really turn them off when in DAC mode. But the app does come with a 5-band EQ, so you can adjust it to your tastes. And the good thing about that EQ is it's saved on the Focal Bathys. So whether you're in DAC mode, wired mode, or even Bluetooth, that EQ is still applied. Now, how do the ANC and transparency modes sound? First of all, there are no differences in the sound signature whether you are in noise cancelling or transparency mode. And as for the active noise cancelling, it doesn't give me too much pressure even on the silent setting, with the soft setting mainly allowing a little bit more bass frequencies and a touch of the mids to filter in. But the headphones already reject those lower frequencies well, passively. In the silent setting, it does very well in completely removing constant lower to mid-pitch rumbling noises, and those higher pitch ones. As for sporadic loud noises, it's mostly up to the passive noise isolation since random noises don't seem to affect the ANC, other than being slightly muffled and a lot of the sharpness of the sound taken out. This makes a lot of noises much more tolerable but still audible. So if you're more concerned about being aware of your surroundings, this doesn't completely drown that out, but be aware if you have music playing through them, they will block out all the sound. And since the noise cancelling doesn't try to cancel absolutely everything, there isn't any weird dipping of the noise cancellation where loud noises seem to throw it off. And when clicking on the noise cancelling toggle button, there is a chime. The audio cuts off for a while as it changes modes. The transparency mode is almost but not quite like having no headphones at all. There is a low constant static as it repeats some of the room noise back into the headphones, and if you're outside, it's almost non-existent. What's astounding is that the voices and sounds are clear as if you weren't wearing headphones at all, with the reproduction of voices and sounds only being a touch tinnier. The exception to this is if you're in a small room. As I mentioned earlier, it brings up the room noise, therefore picking up and amplifying voices just enough to add some reverb. The reverb being less noticeable than the room noise. What I found a little annoying about transparency mode is moving into it actually doesn't pause any media that it's playing, and there's no option to have that effect in the app. While transparency mode is on, it doesn't affect the overall sound signature of the Focal Bathys. The transparency mode just makes the headphones sound airier and a little bit more spacious. This is mostly because of the static faking the airiness and being able to hear your surroundings, giving the illusion of being spacious. I do believe that it's great to have an option to use transparency mode while listening to music, movies, or games, instead of just turning the noise cancelling off, especially if you find it fatiguing, or if you need to be more aware of something like a package arriving while you're in the middle of a meeting. But you can always go into noise cancellation mode if you need to remove any possible distractions. So how do the Focal Bathys sound? The bass sounds very clean and impactful without bleeding too much into the mids. The mids and vocals are relaxed but a little bit forward. Imagine having a musician relax on stage but leaning forward and projecting their voice, making them seem closer than they actually are, while maintaining spaciousness. The treble adds a lot of excitement and sparkle to the sound, almost making sure that the music grabs your attention while taming or rounding any sharp sibilants, even on tracks where I find easily create sibilants. So if you are editing or monitoring audio using the Focal Bathys, keep in mind that it's very hard to spot sibilants. And before I get to why Bluetooth holds back the Bathys, hit the like button, subscribe for more tech reviews with productivity and gaming in mind. So why does the Bluetooth hold back the Focal Bathys and practically every Bluetooth headphone? The sound of the headphones I describe is while they are connected through Bluetooth. My issue with Bluetooth is the inconsistency from device to device. While it's convenient that the Bathys can connect to two different devices at once, there is a difference in delay to the audio when moving from one device to another. I can consistently induce lag simply by going out of range of the second device, but that's just one of the scenarios I found with audio lag. Depending on the device, there was different amounts of lag. On my phone, I have not once experienced any lag without inducing it. On my tablet, however, there are times when it suddenly develops lag. All it took was to play a different video on YouTube or even skip an ad. I even make sure I was using the same Bluetooth codec in developer options, ensuring that they were both on aptX adaptive, which should be able to have low latency. On the other hand, I wasn't even able to find out what codec my PC defaults to when connected, but I experienced lag there too. I've tested out other Bluetooth headsets on my PC and neither of them had lag, until the Bathys. But it's not entirely the fault of the Bathys, but both Bluetooth and Windows. But I did find out that I was able to reduce the lag by going into the sound control panel, digging into the properties, going into the enhancement tab, and checking the disable all enhancements option, despite having no enhancements enabled to begin with. Also, if you want to use the built-in microphone for calls while connected via Bluetooth, you would then have to select the hands-free AG connection to the Bathys, which absolutely destroys the sound quality. I tried to go around this by selecting the AG mic and then using the regular Bathys for sound. However, this doesn't seem to work, and if you do know how to make that work, let me know in the comments below. But with lag out of the way, you can actually game on the Bathys, which is great, with imaging and directionality in about 15 to 10 degree sections and 30 degree sections with sounds coming from behind. The verticality of imaging is decent, where you can differentiate the top, bottom, and front, with the excellent separation allowing you to easily pick out voice cues and footsteps in the middle of a noisy firefight. I would suggest connecting the headphones to the computer in DAC mode instead. This removes lag and allows you to use the built-in microphone,
which sounds like this, which is not too horrible. And this is how it sounds with typing in the background. Now I've swapped to the Bluetooth connection to use the mic. As you can see, there's no more wires. And I've started typing for you to hear the difference.
The sound signature remains the same in DAC mode, and if you have EQ applied, like I mentioned, that EQ is saved on the Bathys, allowing for consistent sound regardless of what connection type you use. While connected in DAC mode, there is increased clarity, separation, and soundstage or spaciousness in the sound, making the Bathys feel less compressed. That consistency of how the headphones sound wired or wireless, the ability to keep a pleasant listening experience while in transparency mode, allowing you to have some of the best features of both an open and closed back headphone. And the 30+ hour battery life is why the Focal Bathys are the most versatile and luxurious wireless headphones I've had so far, despite the issues I've had with Bluetooth. One thing it doesn't really do well is for editing and monitoring headphones, but if you're looking for something that's less cost prohibitive, check out these headphones, hit the like button if this helped you make an informed purchasing decision, subscribe for more tech reviews with productivity and gaming in mind, and have a nice one. I did make a video on why Bluetooth sucks, just didn't think it would be so obvious on these. Oh, and thanks for the 100 subs.